Okay, come on. Just one more flag and... Yes, another one conquered. Oh, didn't see you guys there. Hello YouTube and welcome to another GV anime review. Now, first of all, if you guys saw my intro video, you know that my favorite genres are romance, drama and comedy. But almost all of the reviews that I uploaded here weren't of those genres. Well, starting today that's going to change. I am through the non-romantic animes, so today I can start with the animes that appealed much more to me. To start this list off, I'll be reviewing nomi Shiru Sekai, better known under its English title, The World God Only Knows. The World God Only Knows follows the story of Katsuragi Keima, a high school student whose only love is playing dating simulators. Keima is an expert in these games and has earned the nickname God of Conquest, because he can conquer any girl in any game. One day he accidentally signs a contract with Hell, so that he is forced to conquer girls in real life by making them fall in love with him. Now before I go any further, I must warn you, this review will contain spoilers. I will alert you again when the spoiler is coming up, but if you haven't seen The World God Only Knows yet, be careful when proceeding with this review. To start off the positive points, we must split this anime into two parts. The first two seasons consists almost solely of conquests. We basically follow Keima as he conquers one girl after another. Now, don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong with that. There were some arcs that really pleased me. My favorite arcs were those of Jun and Shiori. The ones I liked the least were those of Mio and Kusunoki. The third season then takes a different path than the first two. In this season we actually have an overall storyline throughout the season. The story of the goddesses was very good in my opinion and gave an extra positive point to this anime. The second thing I liked about this anime was the comedy. The World God Only Knows has to be one of the funniest animes I have seen so far. Especially the relationship between Keima and his demon buddy Elshi is at times completely hilarious. Another positive point was the character development, especially for our main hero Keima. The way he develops in the third season was very intriguing. I will go more in depth about that in a second, but that's going to be in the spoiler section of this review. But apart from that, all the female characters were very interesting and likable. Of course, some were a bit more likable than others. A very disappointing point of The World God Only Knows is that the story isn't finished at the end of the third season. The contract that Keima has with Hell isn't completed yet. For some unknown reason, the third season was less popular than the first two, despite it being the best one of the three. There is still room for a fourth season, since there is a complete arc left in the manga. So if you want to know how the story ends, you will have to read the last part of the manga as well. Another negative point was the rather rushed ending to the third season, and with that I mean the fight between the goddesses and Vintage. They rushed that and it could have been a lot more developed. Also, the transition between the second and the third season could have been better. We meet girls in the third season that we never get to see the conquest from. Again, the manga is where these conquests are explained. Now the next negative point is where all the spoilers will be. So if you haven't seen The World God Only Knows yet, I will put a link here somewhere that will skip this part immediately. Okay then. The next negative point is related to the previous one, and that is that we don't get closure between the relationship between Keima and Chihiro. The fact that Chihiro would play such a determining role in the third season really shocked me. After the first two seasons, I wished Keima would end up with either Ayumi or Shiori, and when they both returned in the third season, it seemed that my wish would be granted. But then, 4 episodes before the ending, everything changes when Chihiro suddenly confesses to Keima, especially after the rather negative relationship they built up during the first 2 seasons. It caught me and Keima completely off guard, and when I saw that Keima also had feelings for Chihiro, I really started to root for them. So you can probably already guess what my feeling was at the end of the third season when I saw Chihiro and Keima crying. I was devastated by this sudden plot twist. The fact that Keima would become like this was the character development that I mentioned previously. Keima and Chihiro were so cute together and it looked that they were made for each other. They're probably my favorite anime duo that I wished were a couple. Luckily for me, there was still the manga to fall back to because I just couldn't cope with this ending. And luckily in the manga we do get a satisfying ending to their relationship. If you want to read it for yourself, go ahead and read chapter 267 and 268 of the manga. As a conclusion, The World God Only Knows is a very good romance anime that definitely deserves a place in my top 10. If I would give a rating to each season, the first two would receive 4 stars and the third season would receive 4.5 stars. So my overall score for The World God Only Knows is going to be 4 out of 5 stars. I really recommend it to you if you like romantic comedies. But be prepared because the story isn't finished at the end of the anime. You will have to read quite a large portion of the manga as well. And with that I conclude my review of The World God Only Knows. As usual, you can find a full list of all my animes and reviews over at Anime Planet. As usual, I will put a link in the description box down below. Now if you want me to review a particular anime from this list, please put them in the comments below. And also if you have a recommendation for me, put them in the comments as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, visit me on Facebook and subscribe to this channel for more reviews in the future. I will say arigatou gozaimasu and I will see you all in the next video.